Hello and welcome to another edition of Let's Talk, the programme that unearths some of the interesting stories from some of the people living here on the Costa Blanca. Now you can imagine my delight when I was told I'd be interviewing a pole dancer. And here she is. Her name's Maria Fallas. Thank you, and thank you for coming in and making my day.
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me with you. It's brilliant.
You're the first ever pole dancer I've spoken to.
Wow. Well, yes, okay. Well, let's carry on then.
Well, we will. Now, being a typical bloke, all right, when I heard pole dancer, I thought sort of seedy nightclub and that sort of thing.
Yes.
But your pole dancing is totally different.
Well, yes, it can be anything you want it to be. That's the issue. It's like anything with exercise. It can be very, very quiet, very light, or it could be very hardcore, whichever way you want to put it. And people do what they like. That's the beauty of it.
They can use it any way they wish.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
In the privacy of their own home.
Yes.
Or elsewhere.
Or elsewhere, in the safety and comfort of my fitness studio, yes, in a nurturing, safe, empowering environment.
So pole dancing is a good way of getting fit.
Yes, I would have to say I've been doing exercise, teaching exercise to music for about 25 years, and is the fastest way to see positive transformation in your body that I've ever come across.
Yeah. But there are other ways of doing it. You know, yoga, for example. Why pole dancing?
Well, the beauty with the pole is that it actually provides a vertical support for your body. So a lot of people find that over the years their postures have a habit of adapting to whatever life has kind of delivered to them.
Yeah.
So when they go into a gym or in even yoga, a lot of those places are really good for rehabilitation of posture. But with the pole, because you've got like this vertical support, you've got a lot of sensory feedback that helps you to maintain the anatomical neutral, which actually helps you rewrite your body's program from within. So it's quicker and more effective.
So, you know, going back again to the seedier side of pole dancing.
Yes, I thought we might.
Yes. That obviously came first before people realised the beneficial attributes.
Yeah, that's right. And funnily enough, with yoga, the Kama Sutra came first as well.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah.
So there's another kind of like parallel running along there. And it's all about maybe what our perspective is of exercise or any type of sport or any type of dance. I mean, look at Argentinian tango, look at belly dancing, look at samba, for goodness sake. I mean, you really couldn't get more erotic than those types of cultural ways of moving. Pole dancing is started a few years ago, in fact, in Great Britain, I think, is where it came from. And yes, it was that kind of, in that place, you know, where people went to be entertained. But, you know, us girls are kind of clever, and we have a habit of changing things to actually empower us. And we now, it's quite nice to be empowered and more central ourselves, not necessarily to entertain somebody, but actually for ourselves.
So is there a side of women then that sort of use the pole dancing as they're, you know, releasing their darker side, wishing that they were being looked at by men?
I don't know. I think it's more of a sort of glitter factor, really. You know, there is something, I think wherever you come from, most women would, if they were really honest, would actually say that they quite like to feel attractive.
Yeah.
They quite like to feel more confident. And in British society, I think, in my opinion, has a habit of kind of beating that out of us, making us feel, oh my God, you can't dance like that, you can't wear that, you can't do this, you can't do that. And there's a lot of kind of society rules in there which tend to kind of like take away a person's confidence. And if dancing, like Nobody's Watching, really makes you feel free and a way of expressing yourself, and it doesn't have to be kind of like, you know, grump and grind, it can be just like Saturday Night Fever. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And most of us actually can resonate with that happy kind of era where people just did their own thing, they danced like they were just going to have fun, and that was all about, you know. So why not? You know, I think it's actually quite healthy to be free.
But it must be difficult for certain age groups to do pole dancing.
I don't think so.
No?
Do you know what?
I can't see a 65-year-old woman hanging upside down, I'm sorry.
Well, I have to say that the older generation, shall we say, if they've actually managed to keep themselves in fairly good shape.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously obviously there are health issues. You have to be careful, like with any sport. But, you know, I have to say that I think people with more experience have actually got less inhibitions than maybe younger people.
I'm not talking about the inhibitions. I'm just
you
talking
mean the strength?
Yeah, the physicality of an older person. I'm not putting older people down, but
No.
it's not something I would say that all age groups could do.
I think the fitness level comes in there. But you know what? A lot of older people have actually had more time to look after themselves and more time to reflect that they actually use their body more as a vehicle for life. And they're actually fitter than most of the young people today. And it's not necessarily all about strength. It's more about technique. So that's what I help to teach people. You know, they come maybe to the class and they go, there's no way I could do that. I'm never doing that. Well, I kind of say to people, well, you know, Henry Ford used to say, if you think you can or you think you can't, you're probably right. But if somebody gave you the tools and techniques to actually help you, you know, evolve and gave you the way that you do this without actually hurting yourself and in this environment that's caring and nurturing and supportive, basically you can do anything.
All right, being honest though, what's the oldest person you've got in your club?
75.
No.
Yes. And I tell you what, there's not just one of them, there are several, and they are wonderful. Now, they might not look like Bo Derek, which is fine. They might not be, you know, like on the cover of a magazine, but it's actually not about that. It's more about the inner person, because most of us really never grow up. We all, you know, from jiving to you know, jitterbug and all that, those people, if they go dancing regularly, they are fit.
Yeah.
If they go bowling, if they go playing golf, if they swim, if they tennis, these people are living life to the full. And for me, that's kind of like, yeah, that's the idea.
I suppose that's my sort of blokey side coming out again, thinking that anyone that pole dances looks like you, basically.
Well, you know, this is just a body. It's just, and it's not, and my life really has been about, well, looking after myself, valuing my own body to be able to do the things I like doing. I like to have energy to get through my day. I like to be able to, you know, go out sometimes and party like with the rest of them and you know, do what other people do. And I like to feel that I've still got some energy at the end of the day and I'm not exhausted when I've finished.
Yeah. Have you always been fit?
No. I was a really good smoker.
Oh, really?
I'm still quite a good drinker,
yeah.
but I temper that because I do respect my body and the things that we put in it I recognise actually make the result that you get.
Yeah.
So I think a little bit of red wine is good for you from time to time. I think eating a variety of foods is good. But, you know, when I first started exercising, well, actually, it was all by mistake because it was Jane Fonda that got me going. So I thought,
that's going as well.
I know, she was brilliant. I thought, that's a nice leotard. I quite like one of those. So I kind of went in those days because it was more about what was on the outside. But I was actually quite happy being down the pub and, you know, having 20 fags and you know, being a bit of a lager lout, really. But it's amazing what you can do when you get a new perspective. You know, when that kaleidoscope shifts slightly, and you think, you know what, I think I feel really good when I'm doing this movement stuff. And
so, have you got to that sort of obsessive stage?